everybody, welcome to another Pearls of Wisdom with Dr. B. So today I want to chat a little bit about critical windows of neurodevelopment. What these are hardcore windows of time that certain things should be happening in regards to neurodevelopment, neuroplastic changes, and certain things we don't want happening, certain toxic insults. So that critical window period is the first 1,000 days of life. So that includes fetal development and the first 2 years of life. So in order for proper neurogenesis and developmental neuroplasticity to occur, we need an optimal environment in utero and the first 2 years after life. These are critical windows. These are hardcore. You can't change what happens during that time. That's the insults that can happen are really non-reversible. We have another sensitive period of windows of development, and those sensitive windows of time, they're not as concrete. We can do a little role reversal, so to speak, if the insult happens during that time. So what we really want to look at is what is critical to happen during that first 1,000 days. And the toxic insults that we want to minimize. And those really are what I call the 4 T's: trauma, toxins, thoughts, and technology. When we have a high load of those stressors, it really affects the autonomic nervous system's ability to balance, and it drives us to a sympathetic dominant state, which is the underlying issue with chronic inflammation, being in that sympathetic dominant state. Then we have a shift to that sympathetic tone, and vagal tone is decreased. The vagus nerve is really he's what I call your inflammatory shutoff valve. He is your shuts down inflammation via the cholinergic anti-inflammatory pathway. So it's kind of a domino, a cascade effect. We get chronic inflammation, we get a shift towards sympathetic dominance, vagal tone goes down, and then our ability to perceive stress is lowered. We have a less of a threshold. All of us, when we've been sick or tired or whatever, stress and incoming input, sensory input to our brain, we have a lower threshold. But living there is constantly this in a crisis mode. And that is what is going to change the trajectory of this developmental neuroplastic critical window of time. So these are things we discuss in great detail: how to detect them, how to help manage them, how to help mitigate them. And we do this in our Developing Mind programs in great detail. But what I want you to take away is I really want you to look at that first 1,000 days of life. If you have a little fiddle fart that's coming into your office with some struggles, what might have been the stressors during that time? What was mom's health like? What was her stress like? We know that the end of the second trimester and the third trimester are key. That's a critical window of development of the autonomic nervous system. And vagal tone. We know that by fetal heart rate variability. So that end of the second trimester and into the third trimester, if there were stressors during that period of time, you can rest assured that that child has been driven from the get-go into a sympathetic dominant state, and thus is fighting a chronic inflammatory distress mode. So the more delays, the more health struggles they're presenting with, the less resiliency they have, the more their body, their nervous system is struggling to adapt to their environment, their external environment and their internal environment. So please keep that in mind when you're working with these little guys, and help us join our mission by joining our Developing Minds program or our Intersect for Life program, and help us turn the tide on this.